After the unsettled weather this weekend, what happens next week? Because we're already turning our attention to a feature that's developing. If I just dart ahead, and as we go into, through Monday and into Tuesday, there's an area of low pressure. It's not yet developed, but there is an area of low pressure that's coming towards us, and it looks like it's going to track somewhere across the Republic of Ireland, then across Northern Ireland, and then towards Scotland as well. And if this comes off, it could be particularly deep, and it could bring some heavy rains, some strong winds. We're talking gales in exposed spots, but even some inland parts could see some very windy and perhaps damaging weather. Now, in order to try and illustrate this a little bit better, I do have a couple of scenario charts that we've shown you. So the most likely setup for next Tuesday, we're talking a deep area of low pressure taking a track similar to what I showed you, perhaps ever so slightly towards the northwest, so just fringing parts of Ireland and then coming towards the very northwest of Scotland. And if we see this, then this could bring, yes, very strong winds, particularly around western parts of the UK. And we could also get some very heavy rain. Wales, southwest England. So Wales obviously has seen a lot of wet weather recently, so saturated ground, and so that could cause some further issues. So this could cause some problems if this came off, and we're going with around a 60% chance of this happening. The next most likely scenario, about 20%, is the low comes a little bit further south and east or a little bit further east compared to the most likely scenario. And so instead it tracks across, up through the Irish Sea and fringes closer to parts of southwest England and Wales, affects parts of northern England and southern Scotland, and then pushes through. Now, if this comes off, the impacts from both the wind and the rain could be a bit more widespread. So we still potential of gales, severe gales, even in inland areas, and some high rainfall totals building up in areas, not just those areas towards the west where we already have very saturated ground, but perhaps a bit more widespread and towards the east as well. Worth bearing in mind, there is a third scenario which keeps it again a little bit further east and also slightly less developed. So I'm standing in a bit of the way. So a little bit less of a deep low pressure, still relatively deep, and so we will see some wet and windy weather, still some gales in coastal spots, particularly some south coastal parts, and yes, there will be some heavy rain, but probably less likely to be as impactful as those first two scenarios. Now, but if we add up those percentage chances, we're going with around, say, about an 80% chance of some significant impacts with this feature as we go through, particularly Tuesday. It's arriving later Monday, but overnight Monday and into Tuesday. Remember, we've had Storm Claudia, but as that was actually named by the Spanish Met Service, that didn't come from our naming list. And so the next name, if we were to name a storm, or if Met Éireann or KNMI in the Netherlands, or Met Éireann in Ireland, if they were to name it, the next name on our storm list would be Storm Bram, because although we've had a B and a C already, technically on our list we've only got as far as A when we had Amy. Then one other thing that I wanted to show you when it comes to here we go. I wanted to just show you EC plots showing the position of the low pressure as we come through, because it agrees with what I was showing you in terms of the possible scenarios. I'm just going to dart through a little bit. I've gone too far. Here we go. If we scroll back a little bit, and if we run through, so here's the low pressure that's likely to develop as we go through into Tuesday, and you can see the potential different tracks. So we have this yellow line, the deeper ones, remember the yellows highlighting lower pressure, deeper pressure than the blue. So the deeper, keeping it towards the northwest of the UK, but some model output taking it a little bit further south and east, more across the Republic of Ireland and across Scotland. But if it does so, it will be ever so slightly less intense, less deep. And then there are still some models which keep it a little bit further southeast even still, but the further south and east it is, the less likely it is to be quite intense. So yes, so still some question marks, still a lot of uncertainty as to exactly how wet and how windy it's going to be, where we see the greatest impacts, but it is definitely one to keep on top of, because there is the potential for some very wet and windy weather as we go through into next Tuesday.